Here is my creative project. I chose to kind of make a montage, maybe. Well, I guess it's not a montage, but kind of represent my face, even though it really doesn't look like me. I'm not much of an artist. Well, the first learning style that I scored most strongly in was social learning. This isn't too much of a surprise to me. I really enjoy being social, and I know that when I'm actively participating with other people, especially in discussion about a new topic, I find that I'm able to pick up on the topic much more quickly and also understand it more thoroughly. In my project, I chose to use my hair to represent the social nature of myself, and looking closely at the hair, it's actually pieces of a phone book that I shredded and glued on there. I think obviously the phone numbers are incredibly social. You can pick up a phone book and choose a random number and, start a conversation with somebody that you don't even know. So my hair is phone book pages and phone numbers. I think that in my future as a speech and language pathologist, it's going to be incredibly important to try to foster social interaction and development with children who maybe aren't naturally intrinsically motivated by social behaviors and social interactions. So I think that that'll be really important, and as you can imagine, speaking and language is truly a very social. I don't think that it's much more than social development. So it'll be really important for me to figure out ways to make children interact socially and have it be fun for them, so that children can learn that being social is a tool, a way to get things, a way to vent, frustration in an appropriate way. So I think that I will be working very hard in the future on fostering social relationships in children. The intelligence style that I scored second highest in was nature. I grew up in rural Wisconsin, and I have always been in nature. I love gardening and canning my own vegetables. So this was really important to me and not very surprising. During the semester, I kind of realized through our discussions on who gets access to appropriate services, who understands what they deserve, really depends on whether or not they're informed. And I think that it'll be really important in rural areas to kind of disseminate information about services that are really just kind of, civil rights. So I think that spreading word in more rural areas as well as urban settings is really important in making sure that people receive services. In my project, I chose to represent my natural knack by using dirt that actually my plants grew in the dirt, I should say, over the summer, my tomato plants. So the background is dirt from my tomato plants. There's some roots in there as well. I also chose to use beans for the facial features, so the eyes, the nose, and the mouth are made up of different types of beans. And I hope that in the space that I get when I'm working in the schools as a speech and language pathologist, I will be able to have some plants, because I think that they can be really motivating for kids. So if I've got a couple of different plants, and after a successful session or after some work that I've done with the children, maybe the children will be able to dump a little bit of water in the plant or kind of look at the flowers, and hopefully maybe that can be some type of positive reinforcement that I can use for motivating kids. The third strength that I had in learning was language, and this is interesting to me because when I was in first and second grade, I was in the learning disabled category for reading, and our readings on, labeling and the effect that it has on children emotionally really rang true for me, because I do remember feeling ashamed that I couldn't read as well as some of my classmates. I felt jealous of one girl. She was moved up a few grades because she was, just really a stunning reader in first grade. So I was really jealous of her that she got to be put in a couple of grades ahead, and I had to go, to the special room to read. So I knew that I was different, and it kind of really ate away at me. But now I use language, obviously, to learn at the college level a lot, and I don't see myself having any trouble with language. So it's kind of an interesting plug to the idea that maybe strengths and weaknesses come and go, and they're pretty fluid. I don't think that disability is ever totally static. So skills can be gained, skills can be lost, depending on what kind of activities you're doing. So the way that I represented the language in my project is, if you notice, what's kind of the skin of my face, it's code that I used, language code off of YouTube videos that I've made, and those videos have been really important to me. It's for a film class on multiculturalism, so I've learned a lot and incorporated a lot of disability back into that class. But what is most interesting about the use of language code, it's definitely a language that most of us don't understand, most of us probably won't ever understand, and yet it still is a legitimate language. Things run on this language. So I think that speaks to the fact that I'll potentially be encountering children that maybe do not speak English as their first language, or I'll be assessing children that are using a different language. So it'll be very important for me to make sure that if I'm diagnosing them with something, if I'm saying that they are, having a disorder or a difficulty, that it's actually legitimate. And it'll be very important for me to not diagnose children needlessly and put a label on them, because it certainly does have an impact on their self-efficacy.